Sometimes only those names are recorded in history books who sit on thrones or whose swords keep shining. But the tales that are born in darkness and end with sacrifice are often forgotten. Such warriors, for whom no royal court stood and no palaces were built, yet their silent bravery and selfless devotion leave a mark on the pages of time that even ages cannot erase. Today, we will hear the story of a character who was half human, half demon, whose nights echoed with valor and whose final breath changed the course of the righteous war, whose powers were beyond those of ordinary men, whose single laugh, a single roar, and a single glance could instill fear in the hearts of enemies. And yet, his heart was gentle. He was devoted to his lineage and his faith. He was born under the shade of the forest. He was raised by his mother's affection and his father's valor. And in the end, he was so mighty that even Lord Krishna smiled at his death and said, "This sacrifice is the seed of the Pandavas' victory." Today we bring you yet another chapter of the great warrior of the ages. A tale filled with bravery, compassion, and a sacrifice so great that it changed the very balance of the righteous war. This is the immortal saga of a warrior, the son of Bhima, the child of Hidimba, and the unsung hero of the Mahabharata, in whose shadow the sun of victory rose. This is the 7th chapter of the great warrior of the ages. After escaping the fire at Lakshagriha, when the Pandavas reached the forest, their steps led them into the dense woods ruled by the demon Hidim. Hidim wanted to make the Pandavas his meal. He was renowned for his strength and terror. He sent his sister, Hidimba, to prepare the Pandavas as food. But fate took such a turn that Hidimba herself became enamored with Bhima's strength, courage, and radiance. Bhima killed Hidim and married Hidimba. This marriage was based on the condition that after the birth of a child, Bhima and the Pandavas would have to leave the forest. But from that union was born a boy whose head was round like a pot and whose strength was unparalleled. Ghatotkacha displayed extraordinary valor from his childhood itself. His height, gigantic body, and thunderous roar echoing in the sky would terrify the forest dwellers. At night, his power would reach its peak. He could fly, change his form, and bewilder his enemies with his illusions. Ghatotkacha was a marvelous blend of demonic powers and human intelligence. When the Mahabharata war broke out, Ghatotkacha became the greatest ally of the Pandavas. Even before the war, Lord Krishna explained to him that his power would be at its peak during the night. Now you must fight only at night. Our strategy is to defeat the Kauravas with your illusions and valor. Ghatotkacha decided that as soon as night fell, he would enter the battlefield. On the 8th day of the 18-day war, when the sun set and darkness spread, Ghatotkacha soared into the sky. His shadow instilled fear in the hearts of the Kauravas. He trapped the Alabusha, Alayudha, and the vast elephant armies in a web of illusion. His magic was so fierce that the enemy became entangled among their own soldiers. His voice, his roar, and his every move were filled with fear and astonishment. On the 14th night, Ghatotkacha witnessed the sorrow of his son, Anjana Parva's death. The slaying of his son at the hands of Ashwatthama became an explosion of anger and grief for Ghatotkacha. He assumed a terrifying form on the battlefield and descended upon the Kauravas in the darkness. He fought such a swift, magical, and fierce battle that even Drona, Duryodhana, and Karna himself were terrified by his might. Karna had only one weapon left, the Vasavi Shakti, which had been kept safe by Indra for Arjuna. This weapon would surely destroy anyone it touched. But Ghatotkacha's strategy and power was so great that Karna was forced to use it. When the Vasavi Shakti was unleashed, Ghatotkacha kept fighting until his last breath. Expanding his gigantic body to the size of a mountain as he fell, he crushed countless Kaurava soldiers. His death was not just a sacrifice, but a remarkable example of strategy. Arjuna was saved, the Pandavas were saved, and Karna was left without his greatest weapon. Smiling, Sri Krishna said, "See, this very sacrifice ensures the Pandavas' victory." By giving up his life, Ghatotkacha protected Dharma. His bravery, sacrifice, and loyalty still teach us today that a true warrior does not just wield a sword, but fulfills his duty and upholds Dharma. Just imagine, what if Ghatotkacha had survived that night? Would the Mahabharata war have unfolded the way we know it today? Or would the entire outcome of the story have changed? Ghatotkacha's story teaches us that true valor is not just in achieving victory, but in sacrifice, in selfless service, and in upholding Dharma. Ghatotkacha showed that sometimes the greatest warrior is the one who dedicates himself to protect others. Every era creates its own heroes, some to fulfill a vow, some for faith, and some to protect Dharma. These stories remind us that the real battle is not outside but within, fought with the mind, the heart, and the conscience. And this was just the beginning. Within the pages of the Mahabharata lie many such names who devoted their entire strength against deceit, betrayal, and unrighteousness. The next chapter will take us towards that warrior whose valor was the nemesis of injustice. Every step he took was a message of truth and righteousness. Who was he, and how does his legend still echo through the ages? The answer is about to be revealed in the next chapter of Warriors of the Ages, because these are not just stories. These are memories that time has covered but which must be awakened once again.